So you were talking about Isaiah and Ezekiel as being two true prophets of the Bible, right?
Yes.
Well, what about Joseph Smith? I mean, we believe that Joseph Smith was a true prophet of God.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that everything he did was good, was right. I mean, you would agree that all the prophets in the Bible did what was right, right? I mean,
Certainly, a prophet is a mouthpiece of God, and you will be able to tell a prophet by their fruits. So maybe that's something that we need to look at. I've got some information that I'd like to share with you guys about Joseph Smith and his fruits. Are you guys familiar with Joseph Smith and his plural wives?
well, I think we've heard
Have you-
about
Uh-huh.
that. We've never really looked into it as far
Okay.
as how many wives. I mean, we know it's
Yeah.
part of the
history.
History,
but-
Certainly is, and that's what this is. It's a compilation of the history of Joseph Smith, the fruit of Joseph Smith, and what he said that God, allowed him or told him to do in taking plural wives. Okay, so what we have here is a list of 34 women. Okay, it's documentable that Joseph married 34 wives. 33 outside of Emma, his first wife. Okay? And this information comes from a book called In Sacred Loneliness. And it's written by Todd Compton, who is a well-known writer of the church. He's a member in good standing. So this is not information that, some anti-Mormon guy wrote. So this is reputable information. Okay? Very well documented.
Okay.
A couple of things that I would like to share with you about these women, which is important, okay? This gal right here, Sylvia Sessions Lyon, Joseph married her in 1842, and she was 23 years old, okay? And later on, the next month, he married this gal, Patty Bartlett Sessions, and she was 47 years old, okay? Do you see anything similar about their names?
Well, they're the same, so they've got to be related in some way.
Yeah.
I would think, maybe not.
Let's look at Sylvia. She was 23 years old, and Patty was 47. What do you think their relationship is? I'll go ahead and tell you. It was mother and daughter. So Joseph married a mother and her daughter.
Really?
Really. Now there's a problem with that. Okay? Because in the Bible there was a lot of plurality of wives. There was polygamy in the Bible.
Yeah.
That's very well documented, starting from Genesis going all the way through, right?
Uh-huh.
That's something that a lot of people bring up. But the key thing about the polygamy in the Bible is God never commanded any of those people. So, key thing in this is in Leviticus, God told the people that took extra wives not to marry mothers and daughters and not to marry sisters. Okay, if we go down the list here, the Partridges right here, look how old, 19 and 22 years old. They were obviously sisters, right? The Lawrence girls, 17 and 19, they were sisters. Okay, let me ask you something. If the prophet tells you today, say God even tells you today, go and marry another woman, and you say, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow the prophet and do exactly what he says. Okay? And you're married to this lovely lady, but the woman you take for your second wife is her sister. What do you think?
I'd be mad.
How are you going to feel? You're going to be what?
I'd be mad.
Yeah, you're going to be mad. Why?
Because she's my sister.
Can you imagine the turmoil in your family if you took her sister, worse yet, married her mom?
Ugh.
How gross is that? I mean, I don't want to be offensive, but that's really messed up from my point of view, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the turmoil in your family alone would be ridiculous. So God, in Leviticus chapter 18, told the people, do not do that. But guess what? The fruit of Joseph Smith, he did it. He went totally against the Old Testament laws. So I can't say that I agree that, Joseph Smith did get a revelation from God commanding him to do this. Something even more stressful to me, maybe, is this right here. This column right here is the ages of the wives, okay? Let's look at this one down here. Nancy Winchester, how old is she?
14.
14 years old. Let's look at another one. Helen Mar Kimball, how old?
14.
14. And there's several teenage girls anywhere from 14 up to 17. I mean, that's kind of young, right?
But that was normal back then. I mean, most girls married young back then.
Do you think so? Do you think that's really a true statement? Because I get that a lot.
I'm pretty
So
sure.
I checked it out. I went to the census records for that time period and take a guess what the average age of a woman to get married for the first time is.
16?
So, yeah.
Not 14?
Well, 14's a little young,
That's
but
a little
probably
young, yeah.
about 16.
You would think, yeah, but you know what the census records tell us? The average age is between 21 and 22 years old.
Oh.
So that's really not the case. And think about this. Do you guys have kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Do you
two
have
kids.
boys or girls or
We have one daughter.
one daughter? Okay.
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 2.
2 years old, so she's young. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward into life of your daughter. Okay. She's 14 years old now.
Okay.
What's going on in her life at 14?
Well, for one, she's going to school. She's what, a freshman?
Freshman or maybe sophomore.
Yeah, freshman or sophomore, probably.
She's probably playing with her friends, playing sports.
Maybe doing some sports. Shopping. Yep. Texting probably. Right. Yep.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say
Do you
so.
think she's ready? Okay, she's at 14. Do you think she's ready to be married now?
No.
Probably not. No, probably not married. I mean, she probably is looking into boys a little
Maybe
bit.
getting, a little bit boy crazy, but I mean, she's probably going to be looking at boys, in her freshman or sophomore
Yeah.
class. Maybe high school in general, but definitely not going to be looking at guys that are 30, 35 years old.
Yeah.
And that's the
No.
case here with Joseph Smith. I mean, think about this, okay? I'm 35 years old, theoretically. I'm a little bit older than that. Okay. I am your next door neighbor, and I start fooling around with your daughter. Easy, man, easy.
You'd be shot pretty
That-
much.
yeah.
Yeah. You'd be shot. And
What
go
would
to
the
jail.
police do in that instance?
Probably arrest you.
Put you in jail.
Why?
It's
Perverted?
Yeah, it's just
It's
not right.
perverted? It's just not
Yeah.
right?
I mean, she didn't consent to that.
Is it if I had relations with a 14-year-old girl, what would the courts do to me?
They'd say it's probably
True
probably
story.
rape and probably throw you in prison for life.
That's exactly right. A long time anyway. Guess what? Joseph Smith not only once, but twice married 14-year-old girls. So really, I mean, Joseph Smith shouldn't get a free pass on this, should he?
But was it possible that he was helping them out in some way?
In what way would he be helping them out?
Like to survive? Like maybe their families were gone or...
Yeah, or maybe there were just like a shortage of men.
You know,
And so, they had to marry multiple women to
That's-
make sure they survived.
that's often an argument that, back then, there was not enough men to go around, and these women, had lost their husbands or just needed help. Maybe these 14-year-old girls, their dads were gone or whatever. But if we go back to the census records again, that was not the case. There wasn't a shortage, okay? And more importantly, morally, I mean, why would he need to marry all of them and break these laws if God is commanding it? I mean, marrying mothers and daughters, marrying sisters, and marrying young girls. I mean, why not just, take care of them instead of having these young girls come and live with him and then he secretly marrying them behind Emma's back. And that's exactly what he did. And we can read that in the diaries of these women. Okay? So, here, we don't have much more time. Okay, I know you guys are in a hurry, but I want to finish this up and share something else. This last bit of information, this column over here is a list of men, and I want you to count how many men are on that list for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11 men. Now, what this list of men represents is living husbands that these women had.
You said living?
Living. So these aren't widows, and these are, dead men. These are alive men that Joseph is married to. So they are living with these men and married to Joseph at the same time.
And this is reliable information.
This is and I want you to check this out. Don't just believe me. This is documented by Todd Compton, good standing member of the church. Now, is that bothersome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I come and have relations with your wife while you're off at work, don't get offended. I'm just kind of, painting a picture here. How does that make you feel?
Angry?
Yeah. What would you call me if I did that? Or what would you call her?
Well, if she consented to it, I mean, she'd be cheating on me.
Yeah, there's a specific word that I'm thinking of that starts with an A. When somebody sleeps with somebody else's, cheats on their spouse. I call them what?
Adultery?
Yeah, it's adultery.
Are you calling Joseph?
No, I'm not calling Joseph Smith that. This information is calling, the fruit of Joseph Smith is calling him an adulterer. Does that bother you guys at all?
Yeah.
I mean, not only is he marrying sisters and a mother and a daughter and 14-year-old girls and other teenagers, he's also marrying women that have living husbands. That's just unbelievable to think that Joseph Smith is a true prophet of God. I just don't believe God would call somebody like that. When they have fruit like this, I have to question that. And that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to go take this information and go study it out for yourselves. I mean, the Bible tells us to test things, okay? There was a specific group of people, the Bereans, and they were known for testing what the preachers said to them back in the day. Go and test to see if that information is actually true, if it lines up with what God is and says in other places. Because this just isn't the God of the Bible. So take this information, check it out. My email's on here, and I'd love to get together with you guys again. Okay, if you have, if other questions about other things, we can talk about that too. But let's talk about this again, maybe the next time we get together.
All right.
I appreciate
Okay.
you
Take
guys.
a look into that.
Yeah.
So, thanks for showing us that.
Yeah, I know it's hard, but it's important. We want to be followers of God, and when we see things like this, it's bothersome. So we need to take our shoe off and get that rock out of our shoe and see what that problem is and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard this before, and it is concerning, I guess. So.
We'll take this information and email me, and we'll set up a time to get together, maybe in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well,
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.